India's opacity on these issues, it's been compartmentalized. There's been opacity in the realm of operationalization and specifics, but transparency in the realm of doctrine. Is a little bit of a comparison perhaps to be made with China, which is with a small arsenal and a sort of limited, a pretty recessed use doctrine, has tried to use opacity as a means of survivability and force protection, and I think India sees likewise. But I'm not sure how much bleeding there is between the secretiveness it has towards its nuclear establishment on some issues and the relative clarity it has on doctrine. It's worth noting, of course, as I said, that in 1999, the draft doctrine, India promised punitive retaliation, which is a broad term that can be interpreted in many ways. In 2003, it switched to massive retaliation, a restrictive term that is actually a subset of punitive. So, in other words, if you were allowing ambiguity to be your default position, simply to sort of satisfy all parties, fob off the United States to say we're still minimal, but to also achieve a deterrent effect, to satisfy your population, you would go for the broadest term possible. But instead that they picked a very specific, clear term. So transparency, it doesn't seem to have, they seem to be able to be opaque in one area, transparent in the other. The first thing I think an Indian official would say, and I've seen them say repeatedly, is that transparency is a luxury for big countries. Of course, that's exactly what Chinese officials say as well, isn't it, right, to the US. But the second aspect of it is that there are Indian officials also who I think pick up on exactly what you said. The most notable example was Shyam Saran's speech that he gave. Where was it, at the IIC? Habitat Center in Delhi last March, I think, where he said, look, we are operationalizing our deterrent, and he was trying to make a separate point about credibility and said, but it's frustrating, I understand, because there's so much opacity, no one believes us, and so it opens the field for people to say India doesn't have a prepared, ready arsenal. We do, and he said, A, trust me on this, I was there, that's one of his arguments, and B, it's saying, okay, but trust me, but Indian government, you really should have a nuclear posture review of some kind. You should have some degree of transparency so that our doctrinal statements are evidenced in some minimal way. And I think that is I said Shyam Saran, advocate of the status quo, not an advocate of change, thinks that India's doctrine is fine as it is, but recognizes, I think, in that particular instance, that transparency can be to India's benefit. So I think there are some people who would exactly understand that.